Welcome to Weekdays with TCF presented by The Loop Sports. I am Zach Lilja. You can follow me on Twitter at ZLilja, Lilja, TCF. The main page is at typical_Chicago. The Loop Sports is at the Loop_sports. You are watching us here on the Typical Chicago Fans Facebook, and hopefully the Loop Sports will most likely share it. They also have our podcast, blogs, everything, videos that we do. That we just recorded a little bit ago, our pick show. So we're going to be putting it out tomorrow morning. If you're looking for that, it'll be on our YouTube page. We had a special guest on there, a special guest picker. We made some bets. We have a live bet between the three of us. So if you want to go check that out, you want to be following us throughout the week and see who loses money, wins money. But you can also go to our Instagram, Typical Chicago Fans, and The Loop Sports is on Instagram.
Make sure you follow me on Twitter at BoomingTCF. If you're an Apple user, you can find all of our podcasts on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. If you're not an Apple user, you can find us on Spotify. Make sure to follow us there. And like Zach said, all of our weekly videos and our pick shows and all the extra content that we did this summer will be up there shortly, but that'll all be on our YouTube page. So make sure you head on over to YouTube, type in Typical Chicago Fans, and find us there.
Surprise. I forgot that I did not put any information that we were doing a show tonight, so this may be a surprise to most. We don't know how many views we're going to be getting because I'm an idiot and forgot to do that. But we had a lot going on this afternoon with our pick show and everything. And if you're looking to have, if you are into OSB stuff and you want to help TCF out, we may want to come in contact with us because we're looking for maybe a little producers per se.
Intern.
You won't be on the camera. It's pretty easy. Just click buttons and we'll show you what you got to do. It's honestly all you got to do. But we got our TCF NFL pick show week 2 coming out here tomorrow morning. Week 1, we figured
I went 4-3, humble brag.
1-5-1. It was not good weekend for me either
Technically
way.
5-3 if I count my over-unders bet.
We're not gonna. We don't. It's over. I'm 0-1 on the over-unders. But let's get into it.
Football's back, baby.
Football's back. How did you like this week of college football? I think these first 3 weeks, especially this week coming up, have been kind of stinkers per se. I know there have been some good games, but there really hasn't been a big slate of good games.
I don't know if I'd agree with phrasing it as stinkers, but like I definitely see what you're saying and the fact that there hasn't been there's been one good game a week, right? Week 1, we're talking Oregon, Auburn was a classic. Last week, Texas, LSU was a great game. But other than that, I mean, even looking at some of the top-rated teams, Clemson hasn't played in a very close game. The
thing is, they just played their pretty much hardest game of the year, so it's pretty much going to be.
And Alabama played a good Duke team and blew them out of the water. I mean, Duke's going to play for a bowl game.
Not in the first half.
No, not at all.
They didn't in the first half.
They didn't get the job done for us there. But, we've seen 1, maybe 2 really good games a week. Everything else has been blowouts. I think we're starting to see, everybody talks about the lack of parity in college football, and I think it's becoming very, very evident in these first couple weeks, and the fact that we're seeing a lot of what we would consider, decent conference teams getting blown out. Illinois is doing some good things. My Huskies,
they are doing good things, but don't know how to cover. Especially against a UConn team that was supposed to be bad against the spread, you didn't cover it.
That's why I refuse. I've learned my mistake. I never, ever bet on the Illinois Fighting Illini. They don't know how to cover. They couldn't cover last year against, I think it was Western Kentucky when I had them. So no, but it's been fun. I love it because, with the different time slots, I've been able to gamble a lot and I've made some good money. That part I love, but I think we're seeing that there's really, 3 teams that can compete for a national title. I think we're going to see something similar to last year. We're going to see a team get in as a 4 seed and then really struggle. I think Alabama, Clemson, and Georgia are proving that, that they're the powerhouses. Oklahoma's good. Don't get me wrong. I think you're going to see the same 4 teams that we're starting to get used to seeing. But conference season's right around the schedule.
But I also think there's going to be really a number 1 for sure team.
Yeah,
I think the playoffs are going to be a little bit more interesting. They're not going to be all SEC heavy. I think there's going to be a lot of parity, I guess you would say, in college football going into. There would be more. It's not going to be so scripted. It doesn't feel like because it's always Alabama. Right. I don't think Alabama's that good. As good as they've been in the past. They lost their offensive lineman for the year, and it's just who am I? They're probably going to come out and play like a number 5 team in the nation, win by 40. You never know.
I think if Alabama can survive without a loss for maybe the first 6 weeks. I think you're going to see back to a dominant Alabama squad in the sense that they are replacing, a number of positions. And the fact, and like I said, Duke is going to be a bowl team. Duke is going to be a decent team in the ACC, and they just ran shop on them. And then I think last week they played some cupcake. And this week kind of stunk because it was kind of the cupcake week. I know Oklahoma played South Dakota and won like 70-6. Florida played Tennessee Martin and won like 55-0. This was kind of, we used to get the cupcake week in week 1. This is the cupcake week that we kind of saw. I think Georgia didn't even play anybody worth mentioning. So it was kind of a boring week 2, but I love college football. I'm one of the few dumb people. I actually enjoy college football more than I enjoy watching the NFL. So I think we're going to see some good stuff coming up.
I'm looking at the upcoming week for college football. I don't think any ranked teams play each other this week.
No.
So that means that if you want to get out, do some apple picking. This is the Saturday to do that because I think one of the best games of the weekend is going to be Wake Forest and UNC.
North Carolina looks good.
On Friday night. Pat McAfee, Matt Hasselbeck will be doing that game.
Mm-hmm.
It's at Wake Forest, but I do think that UNC. I'm taking the money line. I like them. I think they're plus 150. I think I took them at. I think that's going to be one of the best games of the weekend. It's just not a big weekend for ranked teams to play each other. There's none playing each other. Not a lot of crazy. I mean, they got 33 on the spread. We got 16.5. We got 35.
Now, see, I
25.5. It's 2.5.
I see it. I look at this from
Iowa State's going to be a good game too.
I agree.
It's always a good game. I actually picked Iowa State to win that game.
I don't hate that pick at all. I see some, good conference games. I see Florida heading to Kentucky. I know Florida's an 8-point spread. I'm a little biased, obviously, being a Florida fan. But go anywhere in the SEC when you have to go on the road is not going to be an easy task. My Huskies are going to Nebraska after giving Utah a bit of a fight. Utah, kind of everybody's dark horse pick to win the Pac-12. But yeah, there's a lot of blowout spreads, but some good spreads. I think one of the upsets, and this is a team I'm going to hammer because they've been doing well for me. Maryland minus 7.5. Maryland has one of the best offenses in the country. They've scored over 60 points in both of their games. Temple is not good, and I understand that Maryland actually has to travel right now, but they're a very good football team. Illinois hosts Eastern Michigan, only a 7.5-point favorite. I love that spread. Eastern Michigan, I'm obviously biased as a Met guy. I went to NIU. I worked in the athletics department there. Very biased. But Eastern Michigan is not a good football team. They are better than they have been.
What do you think of this
Illinois
pick? I have Indiana covering plus 16 at home against Ohio State.
See, now I would agree with that had it not been for last week when I chose, who was it, Cincinnati to cover there was a 19-point spread at Ohio State, and they got housed like 42-0. So that was tough to see. It's hard for me now. I think Ohio State's starting to click. I don't think Indiana got a close game from Ball State in week 1. So I think that'll be a tough ask. But if it's at home, it'll be Ohio State's first game on the road. We'll see what happens. I actually don't hate your bet there at all.
You know what? I'm going to derail this college football talk because we got a question here that I'm going to get into it. I am starting to think the Cubs won't win the NL Central. Not even a wild card at this point. Yes, they had the second wild card spot, but it's not like it's solidified that they are going to easily get that spot.
Yeah,
like I had thought maybe before. And the NL Central is quickly slipping away. They have 4 games. They're 4 games behind. They could have gained a game last night if they didn't walk 3 straight guys. They had got it to extra innings, and it's one of those things. They're doing nothing to help themselves. No. I think they got 18 games left.
I think so.
And
luckily, the schedule favors the Cubs, but we'll get into that.
We'll get more into the Cubs here in a little bit. So,
Adam, who another college bet I really like? Yeah, thanks a lot, Adam. We appreciate you jumping in. We'll get to a little bit deeper on the Cubs here after some football talk. I really like UCF at home minus 7.5 points over Stanford. Stanford, in my opinion, is not that good. They should have been beaten by Northwestern. They did get beat by USC with a backup quarterback, and they got to travel across the freaking country to play Central Florida, who I think is a pretty solid.
Actually, speaking of both those teams, I like USC minus 4 at BYU. Yeah. I like it a lot. I think USC's quarterback is good, and UNLV Northwestern in Evanston, I'm taking under 54 all day, every day. I think that's going to be a good bet. I don't think there will be much offense, especially coming from Northwestern side. It's always defense.
And UNLV
defense,
is such a feast or famine.
And it's a weird spot for them. Evanston on I think it was an early noon game.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be an under.
Now, if you're a real
big lock.
Degenerate like me, Buffalo is heading to Liberty, and they are a 5.5-point favor right now. I would jump in on Buffalo. I like MAC schools. I know Liberty is, I think, a 1AA school. So 5.5 points. That's one touchdown. We have like Auburn hosting Kent State. We have Duke hosting Middle Tennessee. I like Middle Tennessee plus 6.5. Just going through these quick. Clemson, 27.5-point favorite at Syracuse. That'll be an interesting one. Virginia and Florida State, only a 7-point spread for the Cavaliers. So I think that one will be interesting as well. And I don't know about you, Texas. Kind of, I think LSU is a very good football team, and they went into Texas. I think Texas is going to be a little rejuvenated. We get the Texas-Rice game, which is kind of a big rivalry. Other than that, the only other big name, and this probably would have been a top 5 ranked team had Chip Kelly not screwed things up in UCLA, but Oklahoma is heading to UCLA Saturday night. I believe that's the ABC game. That'll be a fun game to watch. I think that'll
actually,
be
I
really
like
good
Iowa
game.
State at home against Iowa. They got plus 2.5. I like that, and the money line there. So the week 3 of college football is going to be an exciting one. Not the most competitive one, but there'll still be some games here and there.
Especially if you're betting spreads, there's going to be some good stuff to take in. I think there's going to be a lot of winnable games
to lose your money. So that happens to us.
Shout out Kyle, our guy, Fredo. Appreciate you jumping in, man. I didn't really know Kyle was a Ohio State fan. I think the Buckeyes are looking good, but he's right. Watching Clemson try to play football is a thing of beauty. That offense, when it gets clicking, is going to be hard to beat. And I don't know about you, but I can't wait to see Alabama and Clemson as the 1 and 2 seeds.
Well, like I said, Clemson just played their hardest game.
Yeah,
so it's pretty much
Alabama's got
here.
5 or 6 hard games between there or now and then.
Yeah, which you would consider hard, but I still think that they are going to be in the spot to win it. I still think Alabama's going to be the 1 seed going into it, and Clemson will be the 2.
See, I think it's going to go the other way because of the strength of schedule that you're going to see Alabama. Alabama's going to have to face Georgia at some point.
Wait. Wouldn't that favor Alabama then?
If they lose.
Oh, yeah, if they lose, they're not going to be number 1.
But I'm just saying I don't foresee them being a 1 seed because I just don't see how I don't think Alabama goes undefeated this year.
Okay.
I think Alabama's
then they're clearly ahead of Clemson.
No, I agree. If they can run the table, yeah. I as a kind of an SEC fan, I just find a very hard path for a young Alabama team to go undefeated in the SEC. And I understand the SEC
said a lot, though.
I agree. Kyle also chimed in, wonder how Ohio State is going to do without Urban Meyer. That's been fun to watch because they didn't struggle in the first week, but they had was that Florida Atlantic.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. It wasn't a blowout.
No, exactly. They didn't cover the spread.
They usually win 64-0 or whatever. It was not easy, especially when they play. Yeah, Michigan. I mean, it's gonna be good. It's a big game for Harbaugh too.
Definitely,
Harbaugh's got to do something this year to try and maybe make a case for staying there because, like you said,
if Harbaugh doesn't play in a Final Four, it's absolutely ridiculous. But he's going to get fired.
Well, that's just how college football works. It's how
and they damn near got beat by Army. We didn't even talk about that. They should have lost to Army.
They had 2 seconds left. Army had like a 50-yard field goal and missed it to. They sent it to overtime, and they were driving in one time too, and Michigan stopped them. So Michigan, I wouldn't.
If Michigan loses that game to Army, does Jim Harbaugh get fired the next day?
No, I don't think he's getting fired the next day.
I think he's going
to. They got to make the playoff after.
If they don't make the playoff, he's going to get fired.
No. I mean, if he would have lost that game, you got to make the playoff that season.
I don't think that they're going to run the table. I still think Ohio State is a better football team than they are. I know Ohio State is still kind of in not a rebuilding, but a reloading phase. It's going to be fun to see how that dichotomy in the Big Ten works because Penn State's playing well. And honestly, they got to play Maryland, and Maryland is no joke. Like I said, Maryland has averaged 120-something point. Or I'm sorry, not averaged. They have scored 120-something points in their 2 games. They've averaged over 60 points a game. So it's something that I'm excited to see how the Big Ten East technically because they're going to get the winner of a pretty crappy division. I think Nebraska's the best team in the West, but shoot, they lost to Colorado last week.
Yeah.
Wisconsin's not that great, but I still I say that in kind of a short breath because Wisconsin has played well the first 2 weeks, but are they going to be good enough to beat Ohio State? I don't think so. Are they going to be good enough to beat Michigan? Probably not.
But it's going to be exciting, though, at least.
Exactly.
It'll be better than they're better than they have been the past few years, I think. I think Wisconsin's got a good team going there. But, yeah, college football is going to be another exciting week. It always is exciting. I know when college football is the best for me, though, is when there's action going on and stuff like that, and Wednesday night games,
Tuesday night games,
and it's just beautiful. But we're not there yet.
We got a ways to go.
We still got is it another week or two?
Oh, it's probably October. They usually start the Tuesday night games. So we got a while.
That sucks.
That's a great part of the season.
Part of the season, though, when there's Tuesday night games.
Are you coming around? You're definitely more of an NFL than a college football guy. How much do you enjoy? Are you getting a little bit closer?
It's so hard to not talk about, but there's so much going on. At least in the NFL, there's only 32 teams you gotta pay attention to, and so many players. In college football, there's so much.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I love it. I love betting on it. I love watching
This is wild.
But it's crazy. There's so many teams.
Egoy, contributor to the show every once in a while, is in a fantasy college football league. You ever heard of that?
Okay. I would almost feel wrong being in a college football fantasy league.
That's crazy.
Because
he said he went to get in an NFL league, clicked on the wrong thing, and got in a college football fantasy league. I've never even heard of that. Do you know how much college?
Commenting that or what?
No, he told me that this past weekend that he has a college football fantasy.
We need
team.
to have him on here because that sounds like
that's
a pretty
crazy thing
to do.
Do you know how much time and research?
I don't know. Trevor Lawrence. Quarterback.
Whichever guy in the league gets Trevor Lawrence or Tua
and then you
or
have running
Jalen
backs
Hurts.
and tight ends. And
it's got to be similar to what we know in the NFL. But maybe that's something we should try next year.
I don't think I want to do that, honestly.
I would love to try it.
I'll try it, but that'd be tough.
Yeah.
We have no idea what's going on. No. But it's one of those things that you would really be like I was talking to your brother about fantasy football is kind of a crapshoot. That would be a crapshoot. You would have no idea what's going on there.
Yeah.
But I honestly I don't think I could be a part of that. That'd be very tough.
I might get in on this next year. I like that.
Well, I'll do it for content, but I'm not going to say I'm a fan of it. I might do it reluctantly.
Kind of out of spite.
But yeah, well maybe we'll do a TCF college.
Yeah, if you got anybody's interested, let us know. We might get a league going next year. So something we're new to it. I just heard about it the other day. So maybe something we'll jump into. But I don't know, man. This is my favorite time of the year, other than the fact I feel like I have weddings to go to every weekend. So I've been kind of that jerk. And now that my wife's uncle jumped on, he probably saw me at the wedding. I was like, I had money on New Mexico State plus 55. And I'm sure you can relate to this. You've been to events, I've
been to events before, yeah.
Yeah, but you're like sitting there. They were literally getting ready to say the prayer, and I'm refreshing the score of the New Mexico State Alabama game.
Did you pray for?
Oh, I was hardcore because it was 62 to 10, and they had New Mexico State had got the ball back, so I was just like, God, please let Texas or New Mexico State just hold on to the ball. Don't turn it over. Don't give up a touchdown.
Oregon State doesn't score anything in the second half. They scored 28 in the first half, nothing in the second half, lose 31-28. Had a money line, a juicy money line. You suck. Yeah, you're ruining me. I also had Texas too, and then when I saw LSU go over there and yank their water bottles, I was like, can I cancel
and then
this?
spit the water out?
It's just disrespectful.
That is.
And LSU, Coach O, you can't go against them.
And this is bad juju. You bet against my Huskies, and you can't do that to me. They'll curse you.
I'm sorry. Number 14 on the road at Utah.
They were up at the end of the first quarter and down 3 points at half.
I understand it, but you
show a little bit more respect.
Take emotions out of it. You look at that game. That should be a killer game.
Nah.
Yeah, because you can't take your emotions out of it. If you look at it from
you're right.
That was literally like a cakewalk. It should have been. Because was it 21?
And we only beat Illinois State by what, 17?
Well, it ended up being 18 was the end of the
and it was a 21-point spread. But yeah, I love this time of year. I sit and I get like 4 bets in on the 11 a.m. slate, 4 bets in on the 3 o'clock slate, and then 4 bets. I mean, it's a continuous day of nothing but gambling on Saturdays.
But hey, if you want to go to some of these college football, NFL games, go over to SeatGeek, type in the promo code TheLoopSports in all caps, get $20 off of your first purchase. That is TheLoopSports in all caps. Go to SeatGeek, get your NFL games and college football games. We're thinking about trying to find a college football trip here.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to one game by the end of the year.
And we'll go through SeatGeek. They're sponsors of the show, and we love them. So they said,
I want to do like a road trip, like leave like Friday after school, after work, and then just drive somewhere, get a cheap hotel for the night, go take in the full tailgate experience. Somewhere not too far. I'm not talking like more than 5 hours, but like Iowa State would be fun. Maybe up to Minnesota. We enjoyed Minnesota.
Behind on the that trip maybe to Iowa State. It's this.
No. I meant them as separate entities, not to that actual game. We enjoyed Minneapolis a lot this summer. We could go to a Golden Gophers game, eh?
The Golden Gophers are very good.
Yeah.
I love their school.
Except for they should have gotten beat by North Dakota State.
That's beside the point. Let's get into the NFL.
Oh.
Last time we were on here, we were doing a pregame show for the Bears-Packers. Did not end up good for the Bears. The Packers won 10-3. It was tough. I mean, yes, the Bears lost, but it was a tough game. I mean, the Packers offense didn't do much against the Bears defense. They had one huge throw, and then kind of ran it in there and got a field goal, and that was it.
It was a boring game. It was one of the worst NFL games I've ever watched.
We learned our lesson on live streaming that we won't be doing.
Did we ever take that video down?
It should be down because it's just awful.
It was bad.
It was nothing to it. We were literally just sitting there pretty much. I was getting mad, you were getting happy, and then there was mostly silence because there was mostly nothing going on. There was no really great
If you
drive.
Enjoy like 1960s, 1970s steel curtain
if you're like
defense,
a Big Ten fan, you would love
the black hole, the purple people eaters, you were probably, just enthralled with that game. But that game sucked.
Yeah, Packers.
But hey, we're 1-0. What do I care?
The Buffalo Bills go to New York, beat the Jets 17-16. Jets started off up 16-0, gave up 17 unanswered. Tough to the Jets. They took it on the chin. They should have won that game. It was one that was also an ugly game. I had the over in that game, which was also ugly.
Yep.
For me, Baltimore took care of business. Just beat the crap.
Is Lamar Jackson like MVP status yet? Like he ball. I mean, granted, the Dolphins are trash. Like, let's not beat around this bush. But the Dolphins are bad.
As our guy Frank the Tank said, tanking for Tua.
You want to sing it for us like Frank did?
No, I'm not a good singer like him. He's got a beautiful voice. But I think Baltimore is also going to be very good. Lamar Jackson came out and proved that he is a throwing quarterback, and he's going to be a dominant quarterback. Tennessee goes to Cleveland, the dog pound. They've been talking about all summer. They got all summer. They got
wearing $180,000 watches. Get out of here!
And they get just beat down 43-13.
Instead of like the jersey swap, and Odell Beckham should have had to give that watch to
whoever guarded him.
Yeah, whoever the cornerback or
he
safety
also says he will be wearing that watch.
He's
not stopping wearing that watch.
Win a game and then you can wear watches.
It was pretty big disappointment for Cleveland fans. Minnesota takes care of Atlanta.
Atlanta stinks.
Atlanta stinks, and you're at home. That place is a loud, crazy place to be.
Minnesota is an average football team, and the Atlanta Falcons made them look like they were Super Bowl bound in the first half. They couldn't stop flies from cow shit, man. They were so bad, and then it ended up staying a close game. I think Minnesota
28-12.
Yeah, but it didn't. Minnesota score all their points in the first half.
Let's see.
I know it was kind of a blowout early, or at least they scored 14. It was 14-0 when I turned it off, but. Man, Atlanta's so bad. They're so average.
The Chiefs, they go to Jacksonville. They win by 2 touchdowns. I don't think that's crazy, especially with Nick Foles getting beat up in the first. He
against a backup quarterback.
Collarbone, right?
Yeah.
He threw a touchdown on that play, though.
Yeah.
He got smashed down.
Gardner Minshew
took it over. He played well.
Yep.
He was 22 of 25 or something.
Yeah.
Very good game. I think that Jacksonville is going to roll it over and start off their week 2 with a W. I know they're plus. I think they're plus
disagree.
9.
Yeah.
Against the Texans in Houston.
Yeah.
I forgot where they were located.
Texas Texans.
Texas Texans. That'd be kind of funny. That'd be a twist there. The Rams go to Carolina. Only win by a field goal. The Panthers kept it close. The Rams didn't look dominant, but they got the W.
They had to fly across the country.
So that's pretty much all you got to do is get that W. Doesn't matter what the score was. The Eagles, they were not winning most of the game. We almost had a shocker there. But the Eagles go on to win 32-27. Here's
one to take away from that. The Eagles, I think, are better than they played, and the Redskins are a lot better than everyone anticipated they were going to be.
They got a good quarterback. They got a good defense. It was a good start to the Redskins season. You didn't think you were going to go in there and be within 5.
I mean, it was a 10-point spread.
10-point spread. And really, I thought they were going to win that game for a lot of, at least the first half.
I was worried.
So, and then Cincinnati goes to the Seahawks, lose by 1. The Seahawks did not look like they should, but it just seems like that's always the Seahawks' motto is keep it close. It's always close.
Yeah.
Always close. Russell
Westbrook out there
Wilson,
slinging it.
It just seems like he never has that dominant offensive line.
Yeah, he hasn't had a good offensive line since they won a Super Bowl, man.
Defenders and having to get away from it. But I still think the Seahawks are going to have a good season, but I'm not.
Cincinnati is kind of a similar situation. Cincinnati is better than I think we all anticipated. We all saw Cincinnati finish the year 2-9 in the last 11 games, and everybody expected them to just be dog shit again. And they're better. Andy Dalton looks rejuvenated. I think he had a good offseason. Joe Mixon getting in the mix in of things. And they've got some decent wide receivers. I think their defense is a little bit better than we all anticipated. I actually have Cincinnati picking up a win this week and kind of getting back on the train against the 49ers.
And we got the Colts keep it close in Los Angeles. They only lose by 6
in overtime.
In overtime to the Chargers. The Chargers. I mean, it's really just a flip of the coin at that point. The Chargers won the coin toss. Go down, get a touchdown. That's the game. That's why I think the overtime maybe should be changed up there. Maybe not. It's not up to me. But I think that they should get another chance. Even if they score a touchdown, they should be able to rebuttal with a touchdown. You
got to kind of go to the NFL or to the NCAA rules.
You hate to see it. And here we go. The Lions, Arizona. The Lions should have won this game.
Screw the Lions.
Very
I'm
well
done
in
with
the
them.
second half. But a tie should not happen. I think they should just keep it going until somebody wins that game. I think ties, especially in an NFL game where you're getting beat out the whole game. Think about that. You
literally battle for 4 hours.
You went 4 quarters and then a 10-minute overtime, and then you had the tie. It would just piss me off. Giants. They were electric for the first possession.
Yeah.
And then they
remembered they were the New York Football Giants.
14-0, or I think they're maybe a touchdown. And then they lose 35-17. The Cowboys, yes, they look good. I'm not really sold on the Cowboys yet. I'm not sold on the Giants.
And then the people coming out saying Dak Prescott proved he deserves $40 million. That's the dumbest thing.
If you're going to go off that game, then you're just
as two fans of teams in the NFC, we both pray that Jerry Jones pays him $40 million. That's going to just strap them for so long for such an average quarterback.
You paid Ezekiel Elliott all that money.
Yeah.
So you're going to be strapped down to
I agree with paying Zeke.
I think Zeke is a good player. But Dak Prescott, for all that money, I don't think he is an elite quarterback in this league.
He is the definition of average.
But and then we got the 49ers beat the Bucs in Tampa Bay. I don't think it was a great game for the 49ers, but I think it was a good win. The Bucs are going to stink this year.
Yep.
Unless they change their quarterback, because Jameis Winston is a bad quarterback.
Yeah.
New England.
Bruce Arians is kind of strapped
New England absolutely destroyed the Steelers.
Steamrolls the
33-3.
You got to bounce back.
I don't think you'll see Antonio Brown in a Patriots jersey, but it doesn't really matter because they're not. It didn't seem like they needed him this week.
Yeah.
You got Josh Gordon. Apparently Gronk. Oh shoot.
Gronk is not coming back.
Gronk. You never know.
He's not coming back.
But even if he doesn't, I still think this team is going to be good with what they have on the field.
Their defense looked dominant.
Yeah. I don't expect Antonio Brown to make his way onto
I think you'll see him
field
this week.
as a Patriot. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I think you're going to see him this week.
It's really going to show the hand of the Patriots. What are you wearing? Because they are the line in the NFL where they do the right thing. They always do the right thing in this way. In a way, they always like to perceive that they are. And doing that would go against it.
Yeah.
It would go against it. Letting him on the field on Sunday with all that's going on. And, Pat McAfee said it perfectly. He was in a situation where it happened on his team. It came out on the other end that it was a false accusation. And at this point, it's still in the how would I say it? It's still in the court systems and stuff like that. So you don't know what's really going on.
Right.
But it's a very, very big accusation.
Right.
So if you're going to allow him onto the field, you
better be
need
sure
to know that it's not true.
And the Patriots are luckily, I mean, they're not the Raiders in the fact that like they don't need him out there.
No,
if he was on the Raiders, they need him on the field
because he said
the Patriots don't have to rush anything.
He said they've done some, like I said, filming and the cheating in a way, but they try to perceive themselves as the class of the NFL.
Yeah,
and you're going to allow somebody out there on the field after what is going on in his personal life. That would pretty much go against them.
And they can try and proceed. Bill Belichick, you ain't fooling me, bud. You guys.
But
I know exactly what you mean. But I'm not disagreeing. But they put on the altar boy clothes, but then they're out at strip clubs and brothels, late at night. I can't stay in the
brothels in
I'm sure
United States.
I'm sure if you look.
There's probably, I think there's one like the
Bunny Ranch. And,
well, yeah. Actually, funny story about that. We were in Vegas, and they. We didn't do it, but you can get a limo from Vegas out there.
Oh, yeah.
That's craziness. Just think about that. You're like on your way out there just
like I want to go to a brothel.
Maybe you'll see. I don't know who you'd see there. You think
Lamar Odom?
No, not anymore. He is.
How about me calling the Texans covering? I love that pick. And they should have just won the game outright. I think the Texans are under-respected. They're still figuring things out. They did go into New Orleans, lost on a last-second field goal. Will Lutz with a bomb. But
Bill O'Brien, you got to help your team out. You got to put them in situations to win when you're on the road like that. And it seemed like they were fighting against them. Let's go back to this Lions game real quick. I just let this pop in my head. Is it Matt? Patricia.
Yeah.
What are you doing calling a timeout there at the end of the game?
Yeah,
before regulation was over with, and giving the Cardinals another chance. Stafford comes off the field, looks mad at his offensive coordinator because he said, "Trust me, you got to trust me." They just threw a ball down the field. They should have ran that clock down. They shouldn't have been even going to overtime. And I think that the Lions coaching staff is on watch here.
Yeah,
because
Matthew Stafford might strangle somebody.
But in the same breath, Matt Nagy, you got to call a better game. You got to give your running backs better options. You have 3 running backs for a reason.
Ridiculous.
You have 3 running backs for a reason. Use them, please. But we're not going to get into that because we can get into it. But then we had the Broncos getting upset. You would say it's upset. They were 3-point favorites.
Really? That opened as a pick, which I thought was about accurate.
Yeah, it opened at -1 on the action, and then it ended up at -3. But Oakland proving that they are still a good team.
I think a lot of that.
I think it was a weird game for the Broncos. Joe Flacco, like I said, he had a good throwing game, but he can't move. He's not going anywhere.
I think a lot of that had to do with we've been on Hard Knocks for the last month. We just lost Antonio Brown, who played us like a fiddle to get his way into New England. We've got to prove that we don't need him, and that's what they did.
Maybe
they played well.
Maybe they're good. Maybe they are a good team. Who knows?
And if you have that chip on your shoulder going through the whole year,
season,
God knows what you can do. Especially in a division. The West, the Chiefs are good, but other than that, it's kind of wide open. I think the Chargers are the second best team, but right now, after week 1, there's not a ton of difference between the Raiders and the Chargers in my mind.
No, and like I said, John Gruden, whatever you want to say about him, he's going to get his team ready for every game. At least emotionally, he's going to get him ready, pumped up. He's always a grinder. But you want to go into talking about a little bit of week 2 coming up here. If you want to watch our TCF NFL Pick Show week 2, it will be up on our YouTube page, which is Typical Chicago Fans on YouTube. Just go in there, subscribe. We would love you to subscribe because we put some podcasts on there. We put all our podcasts on there.
Yep.
Some videos that we've been doing, and we put our pick show, NFL pick show on there.
And when Zach gets around to it, we'll have some good summer content.
Yeah, we got some stuff coming up here. But yeah, we got the Packer stuff. We got some Minnesota trip, but we got a lot going on here in the NFL season right now. The content is flowing. Like I said, you just turn on your TV and there's more content to talk about. There's nothing we could sit here and talk for 4 hours and then refresh it, and we'd have some more stuff to talk about because that's just how much is going on right now. But we got
tomorrow night. We got the Panthers
Bucks. Boomy likes the Panthers a lot. I'm with him. The Bucks stink. I don't think they're going to be very good.
And the Panthers at home after, giving one of the best teams in the NFC a hell of a run last Sunday. I think you're going to see the Panthers come out and kind of slap the Buccaneers around.
It's going to be I think this is a really good week for the NFL.
Absolutely.
We got some good competitive games. We got the Lions-Chargers going to be a competitive game. I think Tennessee-Colts is going to be a very good game.
Yeah.
I think Brissett came out and showed that, yes, we don't have Andrew Luck, but I'm a good quarterback.
Yeah, I'm above average. There's a reason they give me $30 million.
They're having a good defense. It's a Super Bowl defense.
Oh, yeah.
It's just you lost your
Darius
Super Bowl.
Butler is a dog.
You lost your Super Bowl quarterback, unfortunately.
Yep.
Dallas Redskins, I think
that's going to be a close one, too.
Sorry.
We don't say that.
Yeah, they are going to – that's going to be a good game because the Washington team, they show that they're going to be competitive and
Definitely.
At home. And yes, the Cowboys had a good week 1, but they didn't play a very good team on the road. I think that the Washington –
Yep.
I got to stop. What do they say? The R words?
R words.
That they could upset it.
I could see that happening. I think the Cowboys are –
they're 5-point underdogs,
yep.
which is not that bad. And especially from what they could have been at the beginning of the season, they came out. Yes, they lost the first week, but they're going to be a good team this year. I think they'll be competitive. The Packers, Vikings. I think the Packers are going to come out and punch the Vikings in the mouth at Green Bay.
The Vikings actually have to play a above average team instead of getting Atlanta coming into their house. And Atlanta is just one of the most inconsistent teams in the NFL. So I think the Packers can keep it rolling and fix a couple of those minor things we talked about in the Bears-Packers game. I
can see it being close, though. I can see it going down to the wire because, I understand. But I still think the Vikings have a pretty good offense.
Yeah, you throw Kirk Cousins in the mix. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, but it's not a primetime game, so you don't have to worry about that happening. Seahawks, Pittsburgh, I think that's going to be a good – I think that the Steelers are going to come out and win that game. They got a chip on their shoulder from week 1 getting just destroyed by the
and I
Patriots.
think it also goes that way with Seattle, though. They came out – they won the game, but they know that they squandered a lot of opportunities. I think Seattle's better than people are giving them credit.
Seattle is a very different team, and it's always been proven that
it's also not the old Steelers either. That team looked terrible.
But they still – I understand that, but they still have was it Juju Smith?
Yeah.
Connor's a good running back. I think they just came up against a Patriots team that was very, very ready for week 1. I think that Big Ben's going to turn around, and they're going to get the W there. I think they also cover the 4, too, so I like that one a lot. The Cardinals, Baltimore, that's not going to be a good game, I don't think. No. I think Baltimore's going to keep it rolling, come out, and Kyler Murray that's a good defense in Baltimore, too, and he's going to get his first action on the road, so that'll be interesting. But I think Lamar Jackson's for real here.
I do, too. I think so. I think his arm looked good, man.
Jaguars, Houston. That's
going to be a great game.
I think Jaguars will cover the 9. I'm not saying they're going to definitely win, but I think they'll have a chance to. I think at the end there, let Bill O'Brien call the plays how he will. And
I just think Deshaun Watson is too much of an X factor. I like the Texans a lot. I think they're still plugging some holes and trying to figure out, some different things with the newly acquired players that they have in that last week of the preseason. I think the Texans are going to hold on. I don't know if they're going to cover 9, but they're definitely going to beat the Jaguars.
Buffalo,
Gardner Minshew.
The Bills, Giants, that's going to be an ugly game,
yeah,
I think.
I don't even want to talk about
that game. 49ers, Bengals, I think that's going to be another good game.
Yeah.
The Bengals are good, but the 49ers are also a pretty decent team. Bengals at home, though, you always got to like them at home. But only being a 1.5 favorite at home against the 49ers, that just shows you where the Bengals are at right now. Not very good.
No, and I mean, I think everybody expected the Bengals to be a bottom dweller, and I don't think you're going to necessarily see that. I mean, they were 10-point dogs in Seattle. I think Cincinnati.
It's a weird game, though, and I just don't really, like I said, you don't trust Kirk Cousins. I don't trust Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I agree, but at the same time, I think the expectations were like very, very low. There was some people expecting Cincinnati to be one of the worst teams in the NFL, and I don't think you're going to see that this year. Andy Dalton looks rejuvenated, looks a little bit better. He's got some weapons, and I wasn't that impressed with the 49ers win in Tampa. Like I said, I think Tampa's a bottom 3 team, so that win doesn't impress me that much. Jimmy G, let's see what you got when you got to fly into Cincinnati.
Yeah, New England and Miami. New England's going to take care of business.
Don't want to talk about that one either.
They always have a hiccup there in Miami. So if
they're 19-point favorites, they'd better win the game.
They've been bigger favorites before, or at least around there, and not covered. Yeah. Almost lost before. Yeah. So it's always one of those games that could be a little bit of a hiccup there for New England, but who knows? Kansas City, I think they're going to have troubles at Oakland against the Raiders. I don't think it's going to. They are 7.5-point favorites. That's going to be a tough one to cover there because it's a weird place to play. The field's a little bit different than you would expect. And like you said, with Patrick Mahomes maybe having a little bit of an ankle problem there. That weird field, weird turf and stuff. Is it even turf? I don't know. They still play at the baseball field, right?
Oakland?
Yeah. So, yeah, that's going to be a tough place for an ankle injury to go on there. New Orleans Saints, that's going to be, I think, one of the best games of the weekend. Two very good teams, two rivals. They have some history going back to the playoffs, and I think it's going to be an exciting game. I think that's going to be, the best game of the weekend, competitive-wise at least. Eagles, Falcons, Sunday night. I think the Falcons – the Bears played Denver. I like the Bears.
I like Denver.
Both teams are pretty much coming off the same kind of performance, though. Offense doing pretty much nothing. I said Flacco had a better week than Trubisky did, but I still don't trust him per se. Sure. I don't. Like I said, you don't. You know he can't make any moves. He's literally like concrete on his feet.
He's like Peyton Manning at the end.
Like I said, this defense, I think, is going to get after Joe Flacco. I think the Broncos defense is going to get after Trubisky. I think it's going to be come down to a defensive score.
That under is about right. It's at 40.5. Yeah. Austin talking about my Packers. Boy, we have one of the top 5 defenses in the NFL. Bring on the Bears again.
Top 5 defense is a stretch. You get mad at me for my bold predictions on wide receivers.
We just held the team that won, 12, 13 games last year to 3 points?
Okay, we had one of the worst performances ever.
There's a reason you had that bad performance.
Because he stared at his wide receivers. Had nothing to do with your quarterback.
I disagree.
No. I mean, literally, he was throwing into coverage. He put himself in the bad spot. Top 5 is ridiculous.
I'll be nice. Top 7.
That's stupid. Your defense has had one good week. Prove it throughout the season.
We will.
Maybe we'll talk about it.
We will.
We'll see what they do against the Vikings. Yeah. We'll see.
Well, we probably won't see you in the playoffs because
you won't be there.
You won't be there.
The Browns Jets also kind of a weird game but I think the Browns come out. I think they're going to I think they're going to win by 2 touchdowns because that's what they need to do.
I got faith in the Jets. They're good. They got a bad taste in their mouth. They got upset at home last week.
But
Cleveland showed their hand. They are who they are.
But you literally what?
They got beat by 30.
Okay.
To a team that's not going to make the playoffs.
The Jets lost to Buffalo, whose quarterback had 4 turnovers.
I like home teams.
The Jets were home team. They were
then they're home again on
I understand
on
that,
Monday.
But they were home against a
way worse team. That's a game we have to pick. I'm not betting that game.
Well, I'm just saying.
That game stinks.
I know, but you were pretty confident in the old Jets.
Listen, I'm confident in everything that comes out of my mouth. It doesn't make it right.
No, but that is a bad way of looking at it.
I refuse to attach my wagon to the freaking Browns until they prove anything.
So attach it to the old Jets who haven't proved anything for a long time.
I got faith in the Jets.
I'd have way more. Just on pure talent. Yes, you have Le'Veon Bell, but you have Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb did do very well, but they didn't. It just seemed like their backs were against the wall the whole game.
They are going to be good. I just don't know how long it's going to take them.
Yeah.
I don't know if Freddie Kitchens is the guy.
But yeah, that's the old NFL Week 2. Let's get into the Cubs. Let's get into it. Last night had a great opportunity to get a game against the Cardinals. The Cardinals had already lost. We kept Cishek in there, walked 3 straight guys on he walked the bases loaded, and Joe Madden kind of goes out to change up his defense. And Cishek is out there saying, no, let me stay. That's not up to you.
No.
After you just walk 2 straight guys in a game like that,
sit your ass down.
I am pulling you. I don't trust you in that moment. And he goes out and he walks the next guy.
He shouldn't even have got the second batter. In a playoff race where every game matters, even if you're playing the Padres, pull his ass. I don't care. We have a 40-man roster for a reason. Put someone else in there. I'd rather go down with someone else than have a guy in there keep walking people. That's so stupid. You're in a pennant race. You're not 9 games up. You haven't clinched the division like the Dodgers.
It wasn't
it's
a good
so
look
stupid.
It wasn't a good look.
Quit managing the games like it's April.
Because
it's not. It's freaking September, and we're 4 games out, Joe.
At least try somebody else in there. At least try somebody else because he was struggling.
Yes.
In a game that we were lucky to be even beaten.
If it's not for the bashing that this offense did last night, the Cubs shouldn't even have been in that game.
No, Jason Hayward with 2 home runs.
Yes.
Nico still playing great.
No, KB had 2.
I thought
Hayward's he hit one last night, and then the night before, and then he hit one last night. So it's 2 in 2 nights.
But it's just one of those. And guess what? Here in about 20 minutes,
we're gonna have this game right back
10
on.
minutes. We got to stay up. I stayed up to the end of the game. Then they said,
like 12,
I'm laying in bed just like closing my eyes like this. They're going to lose this. It's bases loaded. He's going to walk to the next guy.
And the Padres are better, but you still in a division race with the roster the Cubs have. You have to win those games.
So now we're 4 games out. I think the Cardinals play the Rockies again tonight. We play them 7 more times before the end of the season. I think we play tomorrow, today and tomorrow.
Yeah, I think tomorrow's a getaway
an
day.
Afternoon game, and then they play again on Friday afternoon in Chicago, I think.
Versus Milwaukee, isn't it?
Versus Milwaukee.
Who just lost Christian Yelich for the year. I mean, I think – don't get me wrong. I think Milwaukee's only 2 games behind the Cubs in the wild card, but that's a huge blow. You hate to see. I like Christian Yelich. Obviously, I don't like when he damages the Cubs, but you don't want to see a young guy, one of the best athletes in the game, go down with a
up
broken
1-0 right now, bottom 4. But also Javi Baez out for the rest of the season, maybe coming back in the playoffs. That's why Nico's up. He was actually supposed to be going to like the California League.
He was getting ready to play in the Arizona Fall
but he's going to
League,
spark this team that maybe we needed. He just looks like he's out there having fun with
Doesn't
baseball.
he look like a college or like a – remember we went to the Frontier League game this summer? It looked like those kids out there
coming
just
from a guy,
slinging it.
Addison Russell, who shows no emotion out there, is just the worst personality, just the worst person. And then to see Nico out there having fun, smiling, talking with his teammates and everything. It's
like
nice
signaling into the dugout, talking
nice
to
the
coaches. Yeah,
but Javi most likely won't be back in for the – we hope to have him back for the playoffs, but we got to make it there first.
Not holding my breath that he's going to be back.
We got Zobrist back, who's been playing well. Nice little leadoff position there. But this team really needs to go on 18 games left. You only got the clock is going to click. The clock is going to be done here as quick as we thought, because I am getting so frustrated because this team is. It seems like a good team, but you just look at it and you're just like, even if we make the playoffs,
be better.
Even if we make the playoffs,
it's
you're going to beat the Dodgers. You're going to beat the Red Sox and the Yankees.
I think we're going to beat the Red Sox.
Are you going to beat the Astros? It's just this team is not set up for future success right now.
No, something's got to change. I almost like there's a very you guys know like
and we're wasting Schwarber. We're wasting a great year by Schwarber too.
You guys know how deep I am. I hardly ever give up on the Cubs, but maybe there's this little sliver in my brain that's like maybe the Cubs don't deserve to make the playoffs, and maybe that will cause some heads to roll that need to roll.
You can think that, but we also want to make the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely.
So we're here for we got 18 games left. We're going to fight. Even if we get that wild card game, we're going to keep fighting.
But as long as those changes happen in my mind that need to happen, it would still make the playoffs, but still make those changes.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. We got 17, 18 games left, another 9 o'clock game tonight, and then we will keep it moving. It's going to be a fight here, but all we can do is hope at this point that this team can keep it together and string to –
Sox are playing well?
So, yeah, the Sox are playing – if you're a Sox fan, Eloy with a grand slam last night. Was it last night or Monday?
Yeah, it was last night.
Last night. I mean, he's turned out to be a great player. Yes, it sucks that you don't have Luis Robert up right now. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I don't expect
Speaking from experience with all the guys we've brought up and waited, just be patient. It'll be worth the wait.
But it also sucks in their spot. They really want him up. And
I
if
agree.
You're a fan and you're mad about it, I totally understand, and you have your right, because you're – in a way, as a fan, you deserve to get those better players, especially as long as you've been waiting.
But if you're also educated and know how long, if you can get that extra year out of a guy, then you take it.
But really, truthfully, yes, you want that extra year. But in the situation they are in, and he succeeds right away, they would probably just restructure his contract.
If you burn, you're not right. If they restructure, it's different.
But you know what I mean. They did the same thing with Eloy. They restructured his contract. I think if he plays well enough, and you bring him up, that year shouldn't matter. You should be able to restructure.
I like to move it from a organization standpoint. From a fan standpoint, I look at it a little bit different. I can understand the fans, but if I was running the team, I'd keep him down.
If you're gonna say it, say it. Don't go, oh yeah, we're leaving him in AAA to play in the playoffs.
Exactly.
That's just bullshit.
Don't pussyfoot around it.
Just talk
be
about
honest.
But the Sox Cubs, it's going to be fun to watch the Sox, and maybe not that fun to watch the Cubs. But we're gonna keep watching, and it's gonna be exciting. Like I said, I'm gonna be up probably all night, or at least till 12, 1 o'clock watching the
That's why
Cubs
I'm hammering some Mountain Dew.
But do we got we got candy? I think it's actually some.
This is very strange. This is the first time we've ever done a non-real. We've done the protein bars, but this is just a snack. So I actually got this at a gas station in New Jersey. Project 7 Rainbow Ice Gourmet Gum. It's supposed to taste like a snow cone, I think. I'm not a big gum chewer. I also have a real bad toothache right now.
Should we do our TCF top 3 and then?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
We're going to be chewing gum. We're going to look kind of gross.
I swallow my gum all the time anyway.
That's gross. What do we agree on here?
Like
TCF top 3
college football players of all time.
I'll
go first. Tim Tebow, number 1.
We do this thing. It's called rock paper scissors here.
You want Tim Tebow?
We'll see. Back to the shoot.
Boom, Tim Tebow.
You want it? I was going to take Tim Tebow.
Yeah, I knew you were.
I think number one, Reggie Bush. He was electric at USC. Yes, he got the scandal stuff with the whole money to parents, this and that. I don't really give a shit, honestly.
No.
Let him keep his Heisman. He shouldn't give that up. Yeah, maybe it was a little bit.
The money did not win him that Heisman.
He did. It's not like he took steroids and it was a performance enhancer.
Exactly.
He was out there playing every week, and I think that he was in his moment. I guess you could almost do him and Matt Leinart. But him in that he was just phenomenal running back.
I don't disagree. My number 2, I'm going to go Maurice Clarett. Obviously, we have a little bit of bias. Like, guys back in, like, the 60s and 70s, we don't know of. And then the reason this came up is because ESPN shut up, Matt. ESPN released a list of, like, the top 100 teams of all time, and the Tim Tebow-led Florida Gators got placed, like, 62nd, which is an absolute crock. So that's how this whole thing came up. But in our lifetimes, Maurice Clarett was one of the best running backs. I think if he would have just – and I commend him for standing up for what he wanted to and kind of did what he wanted to do. If he would have followed the game plan on how you were supposed to get to the NFL, I think we might still – or not, we wouldn't still be seeing it because it was 15 years ago. But we would have saw Maurice Clarett for a long time in the NFL. But he got to the point where he kind of got blacklisted, and then he got himself into some rough situations. I know he did some time in prison, but Maurice Clarett on those Ohio State teams in the early 2000s were just unbeatable.
I was just thinking about number 2. I totally lost it. Oh, RG3. Unbelievable at Baylor. Won the Heisman, and you kind of set the whole scene there. And it ended up being a bad situation after he left with some of the stuff that went on there. But he was electric. He was an amazing quarterback. Like, won the Heisman, went to the NFL, had a good few years, and then his game did not help him in any way. It pretty much it put him in a spot. Like, he tore his ACL, tried staying in and stuff. He's nothing that he used to be. But I think in college he was one of the more electric quarterbacks of all time.
Definitely. And now this guy's not going to make my list. But there's a couple guys that we've talked about. Like remember there was a guy, was it Mike Williams at USC, who was supposed to be like the next coming of Randy Moss? And that kind of seeps into your head a little bit, don't you think? Like, oh, those guys that you heard were going to be, they were 5-star recruits or whatever the name is. That always gets me. Let's see, my third and final pick. Yeah, I've got to go with this. I was looking for something different. Do you know who Bleacher Report said was the number 1 player of all time? Huh. This is a good choice. I'm not going to take it. Herschel Walker set insane records. Number 2, Red Grange from Illinois, the Gray Ghost. But I am going to take the man, Bo Jackson. Bo Jack at Auburn. And I loved Bo Knows, the 30 for 30. I was very young when Bo Jackson came out and played football in the NFL, but Bo Jackson was like a steroided out linebacker, but it was able to do running back things.
My last one, it's going to be controversial in a way, but it was just for what he did in the moment he had. Jordan Lynch.
Yeah,
he played for NIU. And went and got to be part of the Heisman
and played in an Orange Bowl at a MAC school.
That literally is the reason why they have some of those facilities there.
Yes.
I think for what he did for his team, I know I'm a little biased from being around here, and he's not the greatest player that ever played in college football. But that's not where he did. For what he did in the moment, we got to be a part of it, watch it, go to some games. He set DeKalb on fire for a little bit, and he left a lot of things, like I said. For what some of the recruits, for them to be in a game against Utah is because of Jordan Lynch, because of the facilities to get there, the recruiting that they get because of it. So I think Jordan Lynch is my number 3.
I got some other ones that I had come across that I just want to bring up real quick. Even like some of those guys from those Miami teams, remember in like the early 2000s, Jeremy Shockey was a hell of a player. Loved watching him. But there's so many guys that have been. How about Vince Young? What do you think? He's got to be in the top 10.
Yeah, leading into a national championship, the way he went out there and the way he balled out in the championship game.
Bleacher Report put Reggie Bush at 26. That's disrespectful.
These things are just dumb.
Yeah.
But that is our top 3 college football players. I mean, we can say of all time, but we're not saying always.
It's basically in our lifetimes, yeah.
Like I said, with
Willis
Jordan
McGahee, yes. That's a great pick, Matt. Roy Williams out of Oklahoma. That's another good one.
It's right up his alley.
Peterson. Here was the one I was going to bring up, and it slipped my brain. As a college player, not talking NFL, Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah. I mean, they said that man could throw the ball so far, but he just
one of the biggest arms college football has ever seen.
Out of the NFL.
Willis McGahee,
he became a big boy.
Yeah, I like Matt's got some great picks. I can tell Matt's a college football guy.
He was also on the purple lean, right?
Oh, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, didn't he show up to practice?
Caught with it or whatever.
Yeah.
So
all right, buddy.
Matt Linus this way because we didn't want to be just chewing gum on.
You want 1 or 2 pieces?
I think 2. I think that's what you need to do for the full flavor.
All right, like I said, we have Project 7 Rainbow Ice Gum. I gotta be careful. I got a root or a crown. That's weird.
No. This is a 1.2. Maybe a 0.8.
Are you not a fruit gum guy?
It's just not how you should go about it.
It tastes like I don't think it's that bad, but it's definitely. I'm not a big gum guy. Period.
It doesn't even taste like what the flavor should be.
No, it kind of tastes like a juicy fruit.
Yeah, I think it's just a knockoff
with like menthol in it.
Yeah, so like there's like a packed of cigarette inside this gum. Ugh. What's your score here?
1.7, 1.8, maybe at best.
Gross.
That's not great. I wish I wouldn't have spent $2 on that.
Yeah, that's the worst $2 you may have ever spent.
No, that's definitely not true.
But thank you for watching us here on Typical Chicago Fan.
Yeah,
presented by
trying to get that taste out of your mouth.
No, I'm kind of weird.
I just swallowed it.
Are you serious?
I swallowed all my gum, yeah. And I also have a crown here, and I have a toothache here. I don't want it in my mouth that long.
You could have spit it out.
No, dude, I haven't spit gum out in probably 15 years.
You have 7 years.
No, that's not true.
That's a myth busted.
My dad's a science teacher. I know that's not true.
Has he told you that?
Yeah.
Oh,
we've had this conversation. My ADD brain. Yeah, we've had this conversation.
So you can follow me on Twitter at ZLilja, LILJA, TCF. The main page is at typical_Chicago. The Loop Sports at the Loop_Sports. You're watching us here on Typical Chicago Fans Facebook Live. The Loop Sports, we our podcast videos go out on their Facebook page. Instagram is Typical Chicago Fans and the Loop Sports.
Make sure you follow me on Twitter at BoomyTCF. Find all of our podcasts on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe, rate, and review. And you can also find them on Spotify if you're not on there. Follow us on there. And head over to the YouTube page to watch all of our weekly videos, all that fun stuff. And some extra content. We'll be dropping a video here within the next 24 hours on our NFL picks.
Yep. So go check that out. TCF NFL Pick Show Week 2 will be going out with a special guest.
Yes.
So go and check that out. Hopefully you all have a better weekend betting than I did last weekend.
Couldn't be much worse.
No. We love you all.
Peace.